if for whatever reason he doesn't choose you, it may not be because of his trauma.
Are you speaking to somebody who's going to say, it's okay, he's still trying to get himself together because I'm good, I'm a good woman, and I knew I could be to him what he needed, but...
Hold on, folks. Because I'm finna...
Hold on.
You got to put your glasses on?
Hold on, folks.
Because matter of fact, after I say this, I'm getting ready to go. Put my backpack on. Get all my stuff.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
They may not let me back on here. after I say, okay, I got all my stuff. I don't want to have to come back.
Yes, all hearts and minds clear.
Top of the morning, afternoon, and the evening. It's the Wayne World Podcast. You know what it is. We gonna get that raw. We gonna get that real, that uncut. For so. You know it's your boy AntMoe. For so. You know it's your boy AntMoe. Well, don't act like you don't know we love God. For so. Jip. For so. Alright, man, let's get into it. You know what I'm talking about?
Top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be. Wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy AntMoe. You know what I'm talking about? Trapping out of Bendo. Whoa. Let me with your big baby. Welcome to Wayne's Words, my middle name. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, folk. I like that old windbreaker you got on. Randy C. Mays in the building on Timber.
Hey, Randy C. Mays, man, that's my whole name. Hold on. Because you be trying to cut me off when I get to this part.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, folks. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about this because when I was watching, looking, and listening. So, you said Randy C. Mays your whole name. That ain't your whole name.
That is my whole name.
What the C stand for?
Don't worry about that.
Y'all see how he do?
Y'all can message me separately and ask if y'all care that much.
Hey, he gonna leave you on red.
I ain't gonna get no message. Watch. Nobody care.
Bet, hey, inbox him. Inbox that fool.
You trying to determine from the question from the people. I told you we got to start filling these questions.
All right.
We got PR people who say we got to fill these questions.
Oh,
we got PR people.
Hey, we got a whole staff.
We got staff.
What you got for me, folks? Cool ass.
Let me see it.
No G, my plug bag, Okay.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Everything got to be old production.
I had to jot it down for y'all. I had to get it. I put them on.
You want to jot it down?
Put them on notebook.
Hey, folks. Hey, you know, hey.
It's upside down.
Old blank page.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
I just want to let y'all know he ain't jotting the thing down, folks.
It was jotted down. Hold on.
Oh, folks.
They had called the hotline and I had to jot it down.
Folk thing number.
Oh, here it is.
Let me see.
Oh, here you go. Carry the one. Hey, can we cuss on here?
Boy, go to... See, you almost had me cussing.
Hey, man, I had to ask.
You almost had me cussing on here.
I had to ask.
On this old platform.
You want to know.
Man, welcome to another episode of the Wayne's World Podcast, coming live and direct from the couch. You're on Tumbat, episode number 69. Yeah, we such a kid. That was such an old kid. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I said something when I wrote it down too myself. We so childish. And is. But nah, man, welcome back to another episode of the Wayne's World Podcast, coming live and direct from the couch, episode number 69. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what it's called. All right. We trash, dog.
Is.
We trash, dog.
Is.
We just don't, sometimes stuff just don't be adding up and whatnots. But man, let me address some folks. Cause we got a couple people we gotta address.
Address them.
We gotta address the Waniacs.
Yeah, talk to them.
Folk, where do we love them from?
Talk to them quick. The bottom of
the corazon.
Is it on
for the
left
people
side
in the
or right
Israel?
side?
Well, I don't know how you built.
Was it in the middle?
Mine on that old.
Or is it in the middle?
My left, your right. My heart.
It's okay. So the bottom,
yeah, my left, your right.
The bottom somewhere over here.
You know, yeah. Bottom of my quarter song. Listen, that mean I love you. You know what I'm talking about? We appreciate all y'all faithful listeners, watchers, lookers, listeners. But then it may be the person who's just like, all right, folk, if you don't get to it, I'm gonna hop off. Wait. Don't go.
That would make me click off. That would totally make me click off, bro.
Nah, but listen, man, all of the first time and casual listeners, yeah, come on back around now you're here. Show them boys how you do it up in Harlem, that boy. You know what I'm saying? And you may be wondering, what is the Wayne's World Podcast about? I'm glad you asked. We desire to water the world with grace. Our platform is designed to be a safe haven for the believer. Ultimately, we are talking to the modern male Christian, and the idea is for the man who is seeking accountability, encouragement, and entertainment. And so all of those things, man, we want to create a place for you to come and say, hey, look, we got our flaws, you got yours. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Let's move forward. Let's be better. And so with that being said, man, we got something else.
Big
Y'all stick
time.
around. Y'all stick around.
Big time.
Have you heard? I don't think they heard, folks.
Tell them about
We
it.
got to pay these bills.
Got to.
Wild Error Creative. You know what I'm talking about? We got a sponsor. Sponsor alert. Wild Error Creative. Bless your soul. Bless your soul. Wild Error Creative, man. We are not your average painter specializing in regular painting. No, sirree, Bob. I could taste it. We are the only company to offer the essential painting with the creative. Man, the boy be painting.
Getting to it.
Big panels. You know what I'm talking about? Cars, murals, buildings, all the whatnots. Do me a favor. I feel like when I be watching that boy Wallow, that boy right there, that is a train wreck. That boy be doing stuff. But now listen, seriously. Do me a favor, reach out to _Trey Wilder on Instagram. Whatever you need painted, whatever idea that you may have, they are not just regular painters. They're going to give you the flair that you desire and need. You know what I'm saying? Tell them the boy AntMoe, Randy C. Mage, Wayne's World Podcast sent you. With that being said, let's get right into it.
Let go.
All right. We trash.
Yeah, man.
So, as most of my ideas come for podcast topics and names, we were sitting around talking on the phone or something, and I think it was just kind of delving into the idea. Oh, I ain't said that in a while. I ain't said delve in a while.
Hate it.
But we were just kind of talking, and it made me think about, there are some people who do love you for free. There are some people who will give you the shirt off their back. There are some people who will answer when you call.
Yeah.
That we don't value the way that we're supposed to as human beings.
Right.
Because of our past, because of the issues that we've experienced.
Right.
And that makes us trash.
Yeah.
And so my question is, when we talk about what are the potential issues that would make us or things that will make us act that way towards people or keep them at arm's length, think about some things that you've dealt with personally growing up, or just some things that you're like, for me, Randy, these are just hard pressed things that I had great relationships growing up.
Right.
But when somebody does this, it makes me do this.
Right.
Okay. Then skip ahead. There are people who maybe I didn't give a fair shake based off of those things that I dealt with in my past, or just my natural proclivities.
Right.
That made me, be an actor or speak or treat somebody a certain way that I didn't deserve.
Right.
Are those things, my question is, that took the long way around the mountain. Are past traumas a legitimate reason, or are they an excuse for doing those types of things?
I think they explain why you do certain things is past trauma. Whether it's valid or not, it's either hit or miss, man. Because we have to use past experiences. We often use past experience to protect us from being hurt again. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Now, if it's an excuse for you not fully going in, if it's the difference between an excuse for you fully not embracing a new relationship, And then there's a difference between that, and then there's a difference between you treating somebody bad because of past trauma. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you aren't fully giving yourself to a relationship, but you ain't treating them bad, you can kind of deal with that. But if you saying, because I got hurt by somebody in the third grade, so I'm going to talk to you crazy before you can talk crazy to me, there's something wrong with you. that needs to be dealt with before you're trying to enter into a new relationship. And also, I have done that whole not fully embracing a situation, not giving somebody a fresh shake because of past trauma.
Do tell.
So, for me, man, whenever I actually, and not even in a dating situation necessarily, but in a mentorship situation.
Absolutely. Yep.
So for me, whenever I look, actually, there are very few men that I actually look up to. I mean, I'm not easily impressed. Ain't nobody got nothing I want to be like you. You know what I'm saying? So but there are men who I do look up to and aspire to be like. And so for me, I don't want to let them down.
Right.
And so if I am in a season where I'm screwing up and I'm carrying around guilt, I'm not as open to those men as I should be, and they ain't gonna love me no less.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, how it was explained to me, man, by one of my mentors is he's like, don't treat a diamond relationship like a cubic zirconia.
Right. Right.
So basically, he ain't gonna love you no less. So don't miss out on, especially if the mentor is where you kind of want to be, and they can kind of guide and get you there. Mm-hmm. Don't do them like that.
Right. Don't assume that they're too busy or that
they
don't want to hear what you got to say based off of something that somebody may have said to you.
Or they won't understand.
Right.
Or don't think that they won't understand, because if they live life ahead of you, they've been in your shoes before. They've had a mentor. They've been in this exact same situation. So they can empathize with you.
Okay. But a question based off of, you're not easily impressed by people. No. I'm not either. But sometimes when you have that mentor, or you have that person that you just want to know how they got there or something like that, sometimes it can be a situation where it's more so they just want to talk your ear off, not necessarily in a way to provide you insight, but to just get off what they want. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people are talking because they want to it's because there's an ear to hear, essentially. Like, let me just tell you this because I want to kind of bloviate about myself.
That ain't no mentor. Yeah, that's not a mentor. No. If they're not using their life example to say, hey, listen, I was where you were and I was able to do XYZ to get here.
Yeah.
There's still a level of humility behind a good mentor, in my opinion.
Okay.
You may have to find stuff out. You be like, dang, I didn't know you XYZ. You're like, yeah, man, that's whatever.
Yeah.
My mentor, I don't know all the things he's accomplished. He more so uses examples and other stuff to explain when he's doing any kind of one-on-one lesson. He'll use himself in certain regards if applicable. You know what I'm saying?
Was it applicable?
It's not always, I did this, so I'm this and I'm great, because you can't do this. It's not always that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't that person there, they want you to idolize them, in my opinion. If that's
right.
Yeah.
I'll say this. My past traumas have been a real reason, but a perfect excuse for me to move the way I wanted to move in certain aspects of life. And I think that's what we have to, as human beings, be very careful about, is because they say when you know better, you do better. And I'll say that that's even true. But if you're depending on your character, because I could have profound insights and understanding on life, and, because I've been married and divorced, and because I've, been taking care of myself since I was 17,
right.
And because I was around older men when I was younger, and I knew how to talk and I knew how to maneuver, I could use that situation to cultivate healthy relationships, to kind of warn people, even of the opposite sex, about certain experiences in life, or I could use those things to destroy everything in my path, and use my traumas as an excuse to continue to be a dirtbag. Right. And I think that's actually a common theme in our culture today. And nothing's new under the sun. A lot of people have, beginning of the time, been using their know-how, their savvy, or their issues to get them. It's no different than, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna say I used to be a sucker because I just believe God makes you how you are. Like for me, I would give my last to the person that I seen asking for money on the corner and different things like that. Mainly because it just used to tug at me. And it wouldn't even necessarily be that they gave me a story sometimes. I would just see them and my heart would hurt for them and I would give to them. But don't think that a lot of those people ain't okay. Pretty much is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's some people. I told a story a long time ago about I seen a guy begging on 360 a lot. Like he was asking for money. I gave him something and he threw it under his car, under somebody's car. Did I tell you about that?
I think so.
I'm like, bro, what? Like, I will never give you anything in life again. So, yeah, just be, once again, just be careful that you're not using your shortcomings and your issues
right.
to abuse people even.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a lot of people, they say a saying that is very true. Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And so we'll get to in the near future of this episode how to do better, but understand where you're at.
Yeah.
We've talked about and we will continue to talk about how to self-assess, how to look at yourself and say, am I even in a mental capacity to date?
Yeah.
Am I in the right space to have friends to a certain caliber? We all know the person that when they call or when they come around, you ain't trying to answer the phone, or you like, here he go,
right.
Or here she go. What's she gonna ask for? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't need to be those people. And so a big part of that, especially, and we talk about the man woman dynamic a lot here.
Right.
Is sometimes we can be a little more yielding to the women and be tougher on the men. Mm-hmm. And I think something that may be tough, and I'll ask you this, is how do we properly assess somebody who's going through something, somebody who even may have done harm to you in a way, to be able to, because we are believers, because we are called to do certain things, be able to be of service to somebody while still keeping proper boundaries.
Right. Yeah. First off, I'd say take a second and stop and listen to see if you're called to help that person. Because they may be called to endure their season alone. It may just need to be a them and God type of season, and that's okay.
Right.
If you're led though, and they've done you wrong, if you're led to assist, of course you should have forgiven them in whatever time period. Ask yourself, have you forgiven them? Mm-hmm. If there needs to be a conversation about the issue at hand, if you're led to have that conversation, have the conversation. But you don't have to put yourself in a situation to be used by them again or betrayed by them again. You don't have to. Yeah. So if you have a word, if God gives you a word for them, give it to them and let it go. Y'all do not have to hang out on weekends.
And in some instances, depending on what they did to bring harm to you, see if they want to catch the ones. No? Folk, I think it's healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, folk, depending on what you did, we might got to catch the ones one time, and then we could talk. You know what I'm saying? Scrap it out. Then we can talk about, hey,
run a fade.
Hey, folk, we keep cordial, we keep gangster. How you want to go about it?
Boy, you hit.
And is. But no, I think that's great. That's sound, you know what I'm saying, advice, because you do have to go. It's a filtering process, because I'm the type of person, Anthony, personally, I could say, if you're somebody close to me, I would be quicker to forgive, but if it went left, I would be quicker to hold a grudge, to not want to deal with you in any capacity moving forward. Because, you got the women and, they always say, well, I love hard. And it's like, yeah, okay. But at the same time, like, no, seriously, the people who are in my circle, there's not anything that you can't ask for. There's not anything that I wouldn't do outside of, You know, there's some things, certain things I probably just wouldn't do.
Right.
Just keep it stacked. But, and so I have to assess myself to say, are there certain dynamics that we just shouldn't breach in our relationship, albeit with my wife or with friends or with coworkers, because you have to know yourself enough to know that this isn't going to be healthy for me.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we can get so caught up in the dynamics of, oh, that's my friend, and they would never. Man, I will say this: I don't put much past most.
Right.
And it is because of the things that I experienced in my past. I've had people who are family lie and cheat and steal and talk about you like a dog, and then ask you for something. It's a circle of life, but I just don't. Man, when I was 14 or 15, I saw the negative, gossipy, backbiting nature of certain individuals in my family. And I just didn't want to be a part of that. Right. And so just be aware of what is going on to know if this person says or does this, if they are disrespectful and you don't let them into your space and you know you're going to punch them in their mouth because that's where you come from. Right. Know better than to not associate, because like I asked them, if somebody that you know that you may or may not had a relationship in the past that's wronged you, know enough about yourself to at least say, okay, I may have to go to God about this. Right. But as men, I definitely think the conversation piece is important, because I don't think it's fair even to allow somebody to, because it takes a lot. Let's be honest. Even if somebody's messed up 1,000,000 times, it takes a lot to come to somebody, right? You know what I'm saying? To humble yourself to say, hey, bruh, this is what I need. I think you owe it to him, if nothing else, to say, this is my crux. This is my issue that I have with this dynamic. This is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do. What are your thoughts? And they may go away. Probably. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. But I know I could have more peace if we dealt with that. So, Moving on. What can we do to better service and be in relationship with, and, you know, all those things with those people who truly do deserve that shot, coming from two guys that have been divorced? Man. Right. Can you kind of get into the maturation process for you, dealing with everything that you dealt with to get to the healthy space that you're in now? This is just period. Right. Yeah, you gotta be. Number one, you need more time than what you think. You need more time. We are in a microwave society where we think posting the happy memes and posting the vacations and posting the new bag you bought, the new pair of shoes, and we think, and then if associating that with I'm fine. If we say I'm fine enough times, then we'll be fine. Right. You're not okay. And that's okay. And we know you're not. We calling cap on everything. So be slow. Be slow to jump on your social media story and paint that picture. During my season, I was super intentional. I would post pieces of my life, but I wasn't jumping on social media like new cut, new me. I didn't. Now, I leaned on retail therapy heavily. Don't get me wrong. Let's August. But I never posted it, though. That is true. I didn't try. That stuff was literally for me. Yeah, that's true. You know what I'm saying? I posted it for him. Oh, hey, check out my boy those August on. Yeah, but you need more time than what you think. You just accept the fact that you have experienced a traumatic thing, and it's going to mold the way you think. My thing, you know, my deal while married was I didn't mind footing 100% of the bill. I didn't mind freeing up my wife's time for this, that, and other. Mm-hmm. I'm a little wiser now. My mindset has changed, but there can still be a conversation if I am to remarry, because now I'm like, I know for a fact that too much time on anybody's hands is bad. Idle hands, idle time's a devil workshop. So there needs to be a conversation. Everybody needs to be responsible for something, period. Absolutely. I'm not being a hard butt. I'm not saying that you got to do what I do or you ain't got to do none of that, but everybody needs to be. So
that moving into new relationships, whether it be romantic or of a mentor or a coworker, friendship, all that stuff in general, you have to be honest. And if this is your friend or your new romantic partner, you need to tell them, hey, listen, I'm jacked up in this area. Here's why. How do you feel about that?
This is me.
This is me. I'm not saying I'm going to stay here forever. This is where I'm at right now. And you let them choose whether they want to deal with you in their space or not.
Right.
They may have enough wisdom to be like, yeah, you need to deal with that by yourself and then come find me and see if I'm still available. Because at the end of the day, romantically, Mr. or Mrs. Right ain't going nowhere.
Right. If it's for you.
If it's for you.
And we just talked about this on episode 68, addressing the women. Now we got to address those men because we are the ones who will haphazardly go for something because of how fine they are, what they got or whatever. And it's like, bruh, you ain't.
Listen, dog.
Don't do it.
I am perfectly okay with something walking away from me. Yeah. I'm perfectly okay because I got to keep it real. You got to. I don't start off talking about my divorce being somebody else's fault. If I get to that conversation with a young lady, I'm going to give you a bunch of flaws about me. I can give you some jacked up stuff that happened. I can give you a bunch of flaws about me. This is me. Either you're going to choose to deal with me or you're not. I think I have a lot of great qualities to offer. I know I got some jacked up mindsets and some skewed views right now. Not as bad as it was a year ago.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But that's just growth. And so this may be, and if I still have a few left, it may be like, hey, man, you probably need to sit by yourself for another 6-8 months. And that's okay too, wherever the Lord leads.
And it's amazing how a lot of the end results of the things that we talk about on this podcast or even in our regular conversations come down to self-assessing and being honest with somebody else about what's really going on. Right. If you were never, number one, if you were never smart enough to lean on the people around you in that time, to be able to listen to mentors, therapy, sit to yourself, to get better, learn from the situations that you have had along the way, you would never be where you're at right now. You would still be like I was going to say third person. You would still be like I was 3 or 4 years after, still very bitter, still very hurt. Not because there was something I desired there, but I just didn't allow myself time to heal. Right. Literally, I got divorced, and then the next day I was talking to somebody. Because I wasn't mature enough to say, you played a part in being the problem.
Absolutely.
Self-assessing.
Yeah.
There were people who were there to just like, hey, man, get yourself together. I'm straight. It wasn't me. Somebody asked me, it's weird. I think about this now. She was like a spiritual mom to me, Miss Patricia. It was like a year later maybe or something like that. And she looked at me and she said, are you bitter? I was like, me? Great Poupon? Right. No, I'm good. She's bitter. Boy, you lying. No, boy, you lying. I had to break out the other one. But yeah, like I wasn't sometimes amidst the greatest struggles and traumas, the greatest assessor can't see their own spots.
Right.
And if you don't have anybody to lean on, and I didn't in that season, I really didn't, you could set yourself up for disaster.
Right.
And you can hurt everything in your path.
Right.
What were you about to say?
Yeah, man. So, and to the, since we are speaking on kind of our traumas, which may not represent the whole male population, here's what I want to say to the ladies who are, who have made the decision to deal with the man who has experienced trauma. Here's what I want to say. He may have experienced trauma and is now healed, right?
Mm-hmm.
If for whatever reason he doesn't choose you, it may not be because of his trauma.
Are you speaking to somebody who's going to say, it's okay, he's still trying to get himself together because I'm good. I'm a good woman, and I knew I could be to him what he needed, but
hold on, folk. Cause I'm finna.
Hold on.
You gotta put your glass on.
Hold on, folk.
Cause matter of fact, after I say this, I'm getting ready to go. Put my backpack on. Get all my stuff.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
They may not let me back on here. after I say, okay, I got all my stuff. I don't want to have to come back.
Yes, all hearts and minds clear.
It may not be because of his trauma. Baby, you may not have been it.
You ain't it. It's okay, baby.
And it's okay. Again, and we taught on this. We spoke on this when we spoke on the divorce episode. We talked about this because we said, understand.
Did we teach on it?
We taught on it. We said, listen, once a man has gone through a divorce and he doesn't see his kids every day, there aren't many losses that are equal to that. That is a pain I can't explain. I see my kids every day. So don't take that off of yourself and stop, the subliminals on man need to seek therapy. Yeah, he probably do what you do too.
Did they sit on our feet?
Did they what?
Did they sit on our feet, folk? When we was teaching, did y'all sit on our feet? Oh, God.
Listen, take that pressure off yourself. And here it is. And if he was honest with you about you not being it,
just accept it.
You should say thank you.
Yes.
Because my biggest thing about this dating process, having being a man who was married and absolutely crazy about his wife and was able to look past flaws and didn't want her to stress, didn't want her to sweat, didn't want her to go through anything. I was willing to carry the load, was crazy about it. Coming from that, every woman deserves it. Every woman deserves that man that's excited to get home to her.
Right.
That there's no request that's too big. That's willing to make changes on her behalf. That's willing to work an extra 40 hours so she doesn't have to. Every woman deserves that.
Absolutely.
So what you have to understand, for me specifically, if I have no desire, if there's nothing in me that wants to make your life that easy, if it's not there and I know that you deserve that, I'm going to move around.
Yeah.
And here's why I don't really be tripping over it. When you find that man that looks at you and he's willing to sacrifice his life for you and his whole being, and he's loving you like Christ, when you find that, you're going to be glad.
Yep. Absolutely.
That Randy Mays told you wasn't it. But no, seriously though.
And let me speak to this really quick. Because let's just be real. Even if you had 2 years, depending on what you've done, there are going to be certain situations that once you get into them, they might bring up something in you. Because if you ain't been dealing with somebody and then you deal with somebody, at the first sign of trauma, this is what Anthony did. I immediately saw what I didn't like, and it became your exit plan.
Right.
The reality was, at some point, it took somebody that loved me through that to be able to be what my wife needed me to be to her.
Right.
Everybody wasn't capable. Everybody, just because people want to be there, doesn't mean they're capable of being what you need them to be.
Right.
So understand that if you're not it, you're just not it.
For that person.
Doesn't
disqualify you as a wife.
Absolutely. And we gotta be mature. This is, we talk about these things a lot because they really do matter. You have to be mature enough to understand that if it's time for you to move around, thank God. And hopefully we were mature enough to keep it in our pants. Because that's where the water start to get muddy anyway.
Right.
Is when we can't control our urges.
Yeah.
Now, because we're believers or because we live a certain way, you're trying to make that person be it so that you can justify making the decisions that you made when it was birthed out of a place of hurt or a place of vulnerability or whatever it may be. Don't do that to yourself, man or woman. Keep everything in its proper context.
Yeah.
Learn how to get in the word together. Learn how to pray together. Learn how to get counseling long before y'all get to that I do. Learn to have those tough conversations because only then will you not be considered trash or be that person that continues to wreck everything in its path, in your path. And so that was funny. Good Lord, that was funny. I hope that somebody truly, though, we joke around, we play, we get to it. But honestly, we want to be able to provide you guys with something that is tangible, that you could actually take and put into place.
Right.
In our 60-something years on this earth combined, we done lived some life.
Right.
And the reality is, what believers have to stop doing is looking at other people's platforms and what they have to give and devaluing it themselves because either you feel some type of way about the person. I use Adrian. There's no issue between us, by the way. But when I would go on social media, like 2 years ago, whatever, I get on there, I just start going about something, and I always had a point to it. But if you can't see past, oh, Anthony just on there talking.
Right.
If you can't look at this podcast and look past, oh, Anthony and Randy just on there talking, or I see them at church, or I know his wife, then you'll never get what God is trying to put out there.
Right.
Look past all those selfish, prideful things. Oh, or I could do it better. Whatever.
Right.
Try to work on being your genuine self. Excuse me. And then you can be in a position to be able to impart something into somebody else.
Right.
A part of us sometimes being trash is we just blind to the fact. Baby, he don't want you. You took him to church. That's all you were supposed to do. You can't save him.
Right.
Plant the seed. I don't care how handsome he is. Plant the seed. I don't care how big her booty is. Move on, my guy.
Yep.
Because a year and a half later, when she's pregnant and she don't want to work, or after she had the baby and she don't want to work and she want to still do drugs, and well, what did you think, my guy? When you met her, she was like that.
Yep.
You thought you were going to change her? You're trash.
Yep.
We just got to start doing better. We got to be mature and we got to make some changes. Better yourself. I think that the common theme for us is I'm always looking inward, which is going to prelude to the next episode that we got to do. But working on your mental health, because as men, we could filter and process through so much information, but it's only so much that you should put on your friends. It's only so much that you should put on your wife or your husband. It's only so much that you can actually hold on to before it starts bothering you and breaking you down.
Right.
And that's where we start getting jaded senses of what life is and relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So do better. And that way we won't be trash.
That's love it, Doc.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Let's
be better people for each other.
Absolutely. There you have it, folks.
Yeah.
Another episode of the Wayne's World Podcast, episode number 69. You know what I'm talking about? Weird, dog. But yeah, man, call to action. Subscribe to the YouTube.
Please.
Subscribe to the Instagram. This Wayne's World Podcast, INC.
Yeah.
Tell them your handle.
At Randy C. Mays.
At Randy C. Mays in the building. Listen. We're growing, we're evolving, we need your help. If you're somebody who's a Waniac and you support, you should be sharing, you should be liking,
please,
commenting, and make sure that others are subscribing.
Please.
Put us before the people that have your trust, and they will in turn trust us. If you value this platform, show it. It doesn't mean it always has to be money. We'll take it, but it'll be put towards the business. Excuse me. But just do what you can to support, man. That's all. That's all I ask. Please. We thank you. We thank you. We love you. We appreciate everybody who's tapping in. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I want to tap into? But also, please go tap in with Wild Era Creative. Go if you need something painted, if you need anything, please let them know that the Waynesville Podcast sent you. We desire to do this, and we want to give people stuff that they could actually use, that they could value. You know, art is one of those things. So please tap in with that. Man, inbox us or hit us at info@waynesworldpodcast.com if you have any suggestions, anything like that. We appreciate you guys. With that being said, let's get into the question of the day.
Let go.
Be honest too. When was the time you was trash?
Yeah.
In a relationship. It don't have to be a relationship, because trust me, I know some of y'all some scumbags and y'all got some stories. But even, I mean, I'm saying in romantic, it doesn't have to just be romantic relationships. Right. It could have been a time where you were just immature, young,
absolutely,
didn't know any better, dealing with your own trauma, and it was a real reason, but you use it as a perfect excuse to do wrong by somebody.
Right.
Tell us about it. We want to get it popping in the comments. And so we're going to put all the question of the day separately to submit to you guys. Tap in with us on Thursdays so we could check, you know what I'm saying? So we can watch the premiere live.
Do that.
Man, let me end this thing on talking about, you know what it is, man. Life is hard enough. So please, don't just live elevated. Until next week, we love you. May the Lord keep you. We'll see you at the conference. Peace.